Since fall on Benedict Orama's time as president of this African Bank, he can look back with pride.
A message from the past, a hologram tribute to Babakar Ndiaye, Afreximbank's founding father. The launch of Afreximbank's 2025 African Trade and Economic Report Outlook. Keynote speeches from African and Caribbean leaders. Game-changing deals. All these make up day one of the 32nd annual meetings of the Africa Export-Import Bank. Within moments of the event's kickoff, a holographic tribute of Babakar Ndiaye, the bank's founding father, projected across the auditorium, reminding delegates that today's blueprint is anchored in yesterday's vision.
Dans ma déclaration prononcée lors de la première Assemblée générale,
after 32 years of weathering debt crisis, pandemics, and a commodity shock, Afreximbank is celebrating resilient growth and transformation. With this year's theme, Building the Future on Decades of Resilience, being a call to action. Senior Executive Vice President of the bank set the tone, framing the meeting as a platform for consequential impact.
These annual meetings have become pivotal in generating ideas, shaping policy design, and changing the narrative, while at the same time creating a platform for forging constructive partnerships and strategic alliances.
We see this also reflected in the tone from Nigeria's Central Bank Governor Olayemi Cardoso, who highlights how monetary policy must enable continental transformation.
Our efforts are focused on restoring clarity, reinforcing consistency, and deepening confidence, not as an end in itself, but as a foundation for a resilient future. This, to us, is the essence of institution building.
Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Terence Drew, makes a connection between the African and Caribbean economic futures, crediting Afreximbank for deepening those ties. He also sets the stage for the upcoming Africa-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum in his country.
St. Kitts and Nevis was proud to be the very first country in the Caribbean to sign a Memorandum of Understanding through Afreximbank. That was not a diplomatic formality. It was a deliberate act of trust. A prime minister and a government, we believed in the bank's vision. We believed in his vision. And we took a step not just on behalf of our country, but on behalf of the entire CARICOM region.
In a much anticipated session, Dr. Yemi Kale, Afreximbank's chief economist, introduces two flagship reports, the 2025 African Trade Report and the African Trade and Economic Outlook. This set the tone for how Africa positions itself in a fractured global economy, revealing a 4% GDP growth forecast. Spearheaded by Dr. Benedict Orama and presented alongside Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima, who was represented, and Prime Minister Terence Drew of St. Kitts, the report lays out trade projections, debt sustainability trajectories, and investment hotspots for the continent. Then came the plenary sessions, and one anchored by the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, Wamkele Mene. The focus, turning that agreement into real borderless economic outcomes.
The AFCFTA Secretariat is committed to work with our development finance institutions, Africa 50, Africa Finance Corporation, the African Development Bank, Afreximbank, Trade and Development Bank of Africa, and others, to ensure that we deploy the required and the necessary capital to industrial development, to invest in Africa's industrial development capabilities, to invest in Africa's trade supporting infrastructure, so that we can see the benefits of this significant market.
In the days ahead, delegates will dive deeper, examining Afreximbank's founding legacy and looking to the future, including a conversation between Kenya's President William Ruto and Chairman of Board of Directors of Afreximbank. Stay tuned for Day 2. Nkechi Nana, Arise News, Abuja.